Hey, what about now? I think we're good now. I don't know. My computer has been really weird since all these updates. Is that better? Tell me that's better. Good to go. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I think with all the updates happening, I got the new 2004 update over the weekend, actually. And what I think is doing something really weird with my Go XLR stuff. And, I'm an amateur, at this stuff. I'm, struggling. But perfect. Got it. Glad I was able to get that sorted out. I was like, the things that I thought it was, actually I need to do update now, but I'm not going to do Windows update because, that's wild. No one hack me while we're waiting for this .NET update. I would appreciate it. But welcome, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mastermind Academy. Yes, what I was saying is that, one day we'll be on time. Well, we're on time every day, but one day we'll be ready to go right at 7. A little bit behind again because, I'm Lance Armstrong in it. I rode my bike into the office. I have my own office, trying to get into a flow, trying to get comfortable, trying to get into a routine. And I rode home, got caught in the rain, and it was pretty gross, but I'm here, I'm all, dried off, everything's all good, nothing, the water's all good. I have a super nice waterproof pannier bag. I don't know if it's pronounced pannier or pannier. I think I said that the same way both times, but I'm good to go. But happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone's good. Tonight we're gonna get litty with Linux. We try to keep it young and hip and we try to be the vibe. I think that's what the kids say nowadays. We try to be all those things. What's up? I think it's Chinese or Chines 8109. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Appreciate you following. But yeah, we are simply gonna hop into some more of Waddle tonight. So welcome. Like I said, we're gonna get more litty with Linux this evening. I have no announcements, not a one, but what I'm going to take the first few minutes to do is tonight we're going to be learning about package management and package managers in different Linux distributions. Oh no, is it frozen? It looks good on the monitor that I have over here, but I'm watching it. So hopefully that's good. Package managers and package management. We'll also be learning. I don't think I put it, like I said, I put up the stuff on the site. I may not have updated it once everything was complete, but it will be more than that tonight. We'll be learning how to use those package managers. We'll learn how to install things from source as well, but we'll also be learning about process management and how to start administering the computer, the Linux systems themselves. And so we're gonna learn about all those things tonight. And so you can type in that ! Waddle, and you can go ahead and you can get the link that should give you the slides. I'm pretty sure I made the slides publicly available. The She-Boss, you're coming in hot every time. You start the stream off with such great energy, for such generosity. I thank you so much. I do appreciate it, really do. But yes, so actually let me see what I actually have on the site. I have that we're doing packages, managing packages, installing from source, and process management. So I almost have all of it. There's a few other things that fall underneath. Well, no, they don't really fall under process management. Again, they're more of the systems administration things, like understanding, gathering information about the different resources in your system, like disk space, memory, things like that, and getting up to speed with those things. But it should be fun. But what I'm going to do tonight is I'm not going to be booting up VirtualBox. Use whatever you've been using. If you're following along in that way, use whatever you've been using. Tonight I'm going to hop into Amazon because we're going to be working inside of 2 different distributions tonight. Not important that you do them in both. You don't need to go quickly install another distribution. I am going to go, oh no, I might need to go grab my phone. I will go grab my phone in a second so I can get my 2-factor auth in. But I want you to be able to see these things in both places. And I also want you to start to see some of the stuff without a graphical user interface, and start to introduce you to the way that you'll be seeing it when you're doing a little bit of work. But yeah, the background, I use this wallpaper engine thing. I bought it from, I saw people using it, and I bought it from what's that thing called? You can buy it like from Steam. It's like $2 or $3. But yeah, it does some pretty cool stuff. This one is not the one that I usually have, but I think I changed it the other day and never changed it back, so I appreciate that. But 1 second, let me go grab my phone really quick so I can put in my 2-factor auth. It'll take 2 seconds. Stay where you are. You know we wait until 7:10 anyway. It'll take me 2 seconds and I will be right back. And again, we got to meet the camera because for the biggest reason is plumber's crack. You just never know what's going to happen when you get out of the chair. Anything can happen. Your pants can get caught. You can trip and fall. And I don't need that. I don't need that negativity in my life, to be 100% honest with you. It's just not something I need. So cool. I'll be right back. Hi everyone, this is Ashley. This is Aaron's wife. I'm coming to say hello and to make you comfortable while he's going to get his phone. Sorry, I'm back. My wife said she was gonna come and talk to you all while I was getting my phone, but then she didn't. So, I had to impersonate her a little bit because that's how she sounds. Is that how you sound? Come on, talk to the people. Let them know how you sound.
That is not at all how I sound.
See, I was spot on. I was perfect. But sorry about that. All right, let's refresh. I like to get a fresh session. The face where you're disappointed. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Let's log in here real quick. Oh no! See, you see this? I forgot to get my phone out of my bag. It thinks I've been riding my bike for 1 hour and 43 minutes, which I have not been. Now it makes it look like I'm really slow and that I'm not a quick cyclist and that I'm out of shape. It's okay, not important. All right, so I'm using Authy as my 2-factor auth app. And all right, and we're in. I bet she is a Unix hacker in the way that anyone who doesn't know how to use a computer will, Linux and Unix don't. It's hard for them to get viruses, but she will somehow find a way to get you a virus. Yes, I do bike. Right now I'm riding a Surly Midnight Special. It is a plus size road bike. It's a plus tired road bike. 650B wheel set, really nice for the city roads and for a big rider. I used to mountain bike a lot. This is my first foray into road biking. I've been doing a lot of trails, like I said, in the weekends. I do some longer rides, some 30, 40 mile rides. But yeah, I'm getting there. I like it a lot. I like it a lot more than I thought that I would. All right, Authy didn't like that. What's my authentication code? Let's see. Get it right this time. Authentication code is invalid. Hold on. Let me let's go back. Let me get in here. Let's make this a little bit larger. All right, one-time passcode. I might need to sometimes they get out of sync and you got to go ahead and resync them up. Okay, I correctly have it. Having problems. I'm gonna have them call me because I need to use this to do what I want to do tonight. You guys already have my phone number because I give it out. This is my work number. This is on the website itself, but I guess I don't need to do it now. I thought they needed to call me. All right, I can't show you both authentication codes because if you have both authentication codes, you can do something bad about it. So just so you know, if you give someone 2 authentication codes in a row, 2 one-time password authentication codes in a row, it's not easy for them to do it, but they can in fact. Oh, you know what? I did something wrong here. New. I deleted mine on accident. I'll use email to sign in really quick, no problem. But yes, they can use those 2 codes to figure out the cryptography against it and do some bad stuff and possibly figure out a code for you. But yeah. All right, I'm just using, so this morning, I had some issues with work, and I deleted the wrong one. Okay, so Amazon calls you and you have to enter a PIN. A robot talks to you. Incorrect PIN. Hold on. What? It's telling me I entered in the incorrect PIN. I didn't though. They're cheating me. They're cheating me.
Your verification was successful.
All right, we're in. I use Authy. Authy's pretty good, but I deleted the wrong one this morning because I have like 4 different Amazon accounts to do this with. But I'm in now. No big deal. I will reset what I need to do. But we're not gonna waste any more time with that. Sorry that took so long. And now I'm sweaty because it's warm in here. All right, so what I'm gonna do first is, don't worry about this. This has nothing to do with what we're gonna be doing in the course. I just want to, if anyone who doesn't know what AWS is, or Amazon Web Services, it is a cloud service provider. There are a few other big cloud service providers. There are lots of other cloud service providers, but this is the Amazon that you know and love. They have a web services division. They are the largest cloud service provider. They have the biggest market share by a fair amount. But what I can do is I can go very quickly get computing instances from them, and I can pay for what I use and only pay for what I use. And what I'm gonna do real fast, because I can do it really easily, is I'm gonna spin up 2 servers. Let me go ahead and get this Red Hat one. I'm gonna spin up 2 distributions. We talked about Red Hat based distributions, and we talked about Debian based distributions. And so I'm gonna spin up one of each of these really quick for me to use just, excuse me, during this time. So I just need one. I'll leave everything there. Storage, I'll leave, you get 30 for free. So I will do 30. I'll give it a name, and we'll call this Waddle Red Hat, so we can identify it pretty easily. Just in case we add a web server, I will give it this. And let's create a new one actually and call this one Waddle. And let's put this in documents, mastermind. Okay, so now we have 1 server up and running, and now we're gonna spin up 1 more. So we have our Red Hat instance up and running. So we basically have a computer. We just have a computer that's running Red Hat up and running right now, and we're gonna launch another one. And I must have typed the name wrong because it did not give it a name. And let me actually go back before that goes away so I know which one it is. Which is, hold on, we'll screen this. Why didn't it give it a name? I know there are a lot of things on here, and there's only a couple that are running, so I think I can just go running state like this. I can probably delete these as well. So Waddle Red Hat, and let's get a new one, and we'll make it Ubuntu, and we'll leave it there. We'll leave it here. Give us 30. Add the tags. What did I do wrong here? That's really weird. Waddle, Ubuntu. What am I looking for? Review and launch, Waddle. Okay. So I got 2 computers now, and we'll give those a second to get all the way up, and then we will simply log into them, and we will get started with everything we're doing tonight. So yes, you'll be able to see it because again, even the console, you know, technically is graphical, but we will be interacting with the computer, with these computers, purely through the CLI, the command line interface. And this is how servers generally are set up. You know, servers can absolutely have a GUI, but you would have to log into them a different way to use that. Well, you'd have to do another step of things to be able to use them in that way. But this is generally how they're going to be set up. A preference between Red Hat and Deb, great question. It's a phenomenal question. And again, for personal computing, for desktop computing, I prefer Ubuntu. And for non-enterprise applications, I prefer Ubuntu for, you know, so any personal projects, any even big projects that are just not enterprise level, I prefer Ubuntu. But there's something to be said for Red Hat, and Red Hat based distributions in the commercial space. The stability, the applications that are supported on them in the enterprise space is, you know, it's kind of unparalleled. So yeah, so I mean, in the enterprise space, I would pick a Red Hat based distribution, CentOS, if you don't want to pay those Red Hat licensing fees. But other than that, for any other use case, I like to use Debian based distributions. Okay, so we have these. How did I do this? Where did I go? Okay, let me get logged in really quick. We're gonna learn about SSHing and like what that is, and understand how it works, but not right now. I'm simply gonna get logged into these right now, and I gotta do a couple things really first. So let's make this pretty large, and maybe I'll split it. I will actually, I won't go in between windows. I will have two instances running, so that we can clearly see what's happening in each one, and I think that will help more. I need to go into documents. Where was it? I could have sworn I downloaded it here. Oh, it's not where I downloaded it. Where did I download that file? Hold on, let's see. Shown folder. Okay. This is, I hate this. Windows, I love Windows, but here's the problem. Windows put it in the OneDrive documents and not my documents. Not a huge deal. I can just move it to, hold on, can I just copy it like this? Copy, and I think I can just paste it to my, no, because OneDrive desktop. I don't know how to use Windows that well. How do I get to see users and Brooks? I think this is where I want it to be. Yeah, this is where I want it. I'll paste it here for us to use. Perfect. I've resolved all of our problems really fast. What do I prefer as a web server? Probably Ubuntu, to be honest. Doesn't really matter. Oh, like if you mean the actual web server application, again, they all have their merits, but Nginx right now is by far my favorite web server at the current moment. Okay, so now I have this waddle.pem file. I actually need this file to log in. There's no username and password. You basically use a key-based authentication. So basically I log in and the server says, hey, I'm looking for a key to go in this lock. I have this lock. You have the key for it. And it says, yes, it is. It is not exactly like that at all, but that's essentially what's happening. But I have the key here. I need to change the permissions of it. You don't know about permissions yet, so don't worry about that either. And now I'm gonna log in as the, see, let me grab the URL. What is happening? Okay, let's grab this and Ooh, for Red Hat distributions, what's the user? Is it root? That feels no. 055 or 2 open. What? Okay. Move Waddle. This is a WSL problem. And let's do that again. There we go. Oh, it is EC2 user. I think it used to be root though. It's not EC2 user. It says EC2 user. It didn't used to be. All of the distributions used to have different login names, and it was really, really annoying. It was very, very annoying. And what you would have to do is they didn't give you any place inside of EC2 to figure that out, and you'd have to go find it somewhere else. I guess they still do, but I thought Red Hat was always root, or maybe not. I guess not. But so this is my Red Hat one. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let's see, host name. What I'm gonna do really quick so we can see it is, this might break everything. I don't think it will. I can't remember. We can call this Red Hat. I don't think this is going to. Whoops. I don't think it's gonna break anything within. Let's log out and let's log back in. Let's see if this changes it at all. Okay, it doesn't change it. No biggie. I can get it to change. I can get it to update the host name. But the one on the left is going to be Red Hat, and right now we're going to log into the one on the right, which is going to be Ubuntu. Then we'll hop straight into the slides. We haven't even gone over any slides yet, and I'm sorry about that, but we are about to. I'm using a different keyboard as well, so it's bothering me. EC2 user at. Okay, so on the left, whoa, on host, it didn't give me any problems, can't be established. Oh, because this user is Ubuntu and not EC2 user. You see, that's whack. All right, so now I'm in. Actually, this is really nice because this will tell me that it's Ubuntu on the right. And so I'll make this a little bit bigger. And now it'll be very clear to us, at least which one is Ubuntu and which one is not. So now we are simply, can you not do, so I'm not worried about it taking, I'm worried about changing the host name, breaking, I can do that. This is the same thing as a host name file. But I'm worried about it breaking Amazon's networking paradigm. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay, now let's hop into what we need to hop into. Like I said, I hope you're in the slides. I hope you're able to access them. We will simply hop over to day 3 of Waddle and hop right in because there's a fair amount of slides tonight. We'll get through them pretty quickly though, because they're all about package. Like a lot of the beginning ones is about package management. And a lot of the concepts are going to be the same across the board, but I do want you to be familiar with them. Some of you might be asking, why are we talking about all these different package managers? The reason why is because, again, the goal is to get a foundation in Linux. With the goal, all of these courses are going to be with the goal of you thinking about you working in the workplace in the future or now, and what you're going to be running into. And I think these things are very important. So tonight we're going to be learning about installing packages, package management, installing software from source, managing processes, as well as administering the computer, gathering information about what is going on. Rogue Cow, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. Okay, so we have Linux comes, out of the box with lots of tools and applications. to help you get stuff done. So right now there are a lot of tools and services available for us to use, including things like ls. This is a command. When you do ls, this is a tool that is available for you. It is compiled into the current distribution that you have, but that's not enough. How do we install new software on a Linux machine? A lot of times you're going to need to install new software to support an application you're running. You're going to need to install new software to make certain tasks happen. And so that's what we're going to be talking about the first half of tonight. So yeah, so all about packages. What are packages? We're talking about package management tonight, but this is from lifewire.com. I think this is a pretty good explanation of packages. There's a slide after this which simplifies it a bit, but this is a package consists of a collection of files that perform a task. For example, the popular image editing program GIMP. So if you're not familiar with GIMP, it's just an open source tool. It's just like Photoshop. Not just like, no, I don't want any people get mad at me, but it is designed to do similar things to Photoshop. It is an image editing program. It's pretty nice. I could show it to you tonight. But it distributes through a package. The way that they allow you to install it on your computer, it gets distributed through a package. Within it, all the files that GIMP needs to run appear in a tidy archive. And an archive is just a collection of files. I think I defined that later on. But in addition, the package offers a small file that provides important metadata about the program. So that metadata is just a little bit of data that you can use to talk about things about the program itself. So what are they really? Lots of words there, a whole bunch of words there, but a package is just an archive that contains all of the files for an application that application needs, as well as additional information to get it running on your system. So these applications that you're using, things like Microsoft Word, all these applications that you're using, they have a lot of files in them, a lot of tools, a lot of binaries and things that are there to support the way that they work. And a package allows you to, again, package those things up into a certain format and deliver them to a computer to be installed more easily. And there are lots of different types of packages, but yeah, that's what we're basically going to be talking about tonight. So that's all packages, exactly what it sounds like. So package managers. Packages are great, but generally you're going to need a package manager to handle this package. Again, an archive of files packaged up. You can have a standard tarball, which we will talk about as well, to install things. But a lot of times in Linux, you're going to be using package managers to do your bidding, to do what you want to do. So you got to manage them packages. A package manager simply helps you easily install, upgrade, configure, and remove packages on a system. And that's what it's there for. And it is really nice. So think about the App Store on Mac OS and the Windows Store on Windows. Those are package managers themselves as well. They, you go find the application that you want and you click on them and you install them, and in the background everything's handled for you. You don't have to download any files like manually. You don't have to choose where something's installed at. You just click the button and it gets it ready for you. And when you're ready to delete it, you can do it all through that one interface. And that's these package managers do as well. All right, so one thing we need to know about these package managers is they're generally distribution-based packaging. What does that mean? And so due to distribution specific setups and collections of packages, distros of different lineages, we talked about those lineages in the first class, they have different package managers. Now, remember we said distributions were just a collection of different tools, of different applications for you to get stuff done with. This does not mean you cannot install a different package manager on a distribution that it does not come natively on, but the native package managers that come on these distributions differ by lineage, and there's a few branches in there. And tonight we're only going to talk about we're only going to dive deep into the Red Hat versus Debian based distributions, but there are more that we can touch on, but we're not going to dive into. Okay. Debian package management. So we have been using Ubuntu or Pop! OS to do most of our stuff, and Debian based distributions, the distributions that are in the lineage of Debian are Debian, Ubuntu, Pop! OS, Mint. There's Linux Mint and Kali Linux. These are some of the most popular ones. There are many more, but I just want to throw a couple at you so that you are starting to get familiar with kind of the lineages a little bit. And so when you learn how to use these package managers, whenever you move over to one of these other distributions, you should be able to do what you've already learned there, no problem. So the first package manager, you have two package managers here out of the box. And the first one you have is Dpkg, and that's how people will refer to it. But this is Debian's package. This is the Debian package manager. It's the older technology, and it is there to help you install packages in Debian. And it does its job well, but it is in fact limited in features. That's kind of where apt comes in. Apt, I always kept saying this was called aptitude. I now know why I kept saying it was aptitude. Aptitude is a front end that was created for the apt package manager, but apt stands for advanced package tool, and this is the tool that you're going to be using to get stuff done. Apt does in fact use Dpkg, so it's the advanced package tool, but it is using this tool here. That is why it's good for us to know about both. And so I've given you two, but what is the difference here? Well, you know what, why am I telling you about both of them? Dpkg will install and uninstall .deb packages. So you know how on a Windows you might download a .exe, or on Mac you might download a .dmg, I think is what Mac files are. For Dpkg, you can use these .deb files for Debian based packaging. And so you can install, uninstall things, and it's based on these things. Apt though, and this is just the way that I stated this was really just to identify the kind of main difference on why people like which would use which one for and what kind of they're capable of. So it does that, it does it well. It installs these packages just fine. Apt though it'll use Dpkg to do the same thing, so it'll use them to install, uninstall, all that stuff, but it also will has better logic and management for determining dependencies and understanding, like, hey, I know you want to install this package here, but that package is using 6 or 7 other Linux essential tools that it needs to run, and you don't have those things. But you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna help you get those things installed without you having to worry about it. We'll get them installed in the right order. We'll make sure things happen well. Dpkg does not have this out of the box. It's a little bit more of a hassle when you're installing things through Dpkg when there are dependency issues. Yes, you can use it to fix broken installs as well. So yeah, they're both useful tools. You'll be using apt much more than you'll be using Dpkg, but it is important to know both. Okay, using Dpkg. First, download a deb. Remember, we said it is used it's used to download these .deb things, and I said, hey, go ahead and you download a .deb here. So the .deb that I put in here is this is for a program called Tree, and Tree is really nice. Whoops, go back one. Tree is really nice, but Tree does not come standard on Linux distributions, on all Linux distributions. So on here, I type in Tree in Ubuntu, Tree, it says, hey, command Tree is not found, but it can be installed with these things. It gives you some options for installation. We are not going to use any of those options. If I click over here, why is my computer is like having a really tough time right now? But even over here in Red Hat, over here, Tree does not work either. Man, it like, I wonder what is, something's eating. Hold on real quick. Something is eating my system. I don't know. It's not that bad. Okay, whatever. If I close this, it might just be what's this thing called? It might just be OBS being weird. But Tree is not installed, and so maybe we want to get this tree tool installed. So what tree does, tree is a tool that really visualizes a directory tree for you, and so you can see what's there, you know, what directories are parents of other directories. It's really nice to know what you're walking into. But yeah, that's what tree is, and it's not installed by default. I wish it was. I thought it was. I used to think it was, because I think maybe Macs have it installed by default or something. Something has it installed by default, and it tricked me. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go download this .deb package now. I think we talked about it a bit, but this might be a little bit extra. We might be talking about this later in the course. But what we need to do is here's the package here. I can download it from right here if I want. But what I want to do is I need to get it onto the server itself. I don't need it where I am now. They also tell you how to do it via package manager, but I'm gonna go ahead and click on it and see where I can get the download from. Not tripping. Click on this, what happens? It just takes me right back here. I could install it from there. Where's my downloading link? I just need a link here. That's all I need. Fires libc. I'm always looking for bike accessories. First off, you know, if you're gonna do it, you know, do it big, okay? Oh, okay. So, no. See, also, what? Why am I struggling? Maybe just copy this link address. So, no, that wouldn't work because it's just gonna take me right back here. The download link. I just want to download this. I'm not gonna click on this though. I'm smarter than that, y'all. I'm much smarter than that. I downloaded this earlier. I definitely did. Mirror. Here we go. It's right here. They just don't give you a link. It's right here. It is right here. Nope, you didn't get me. It never almost got me. I've never, you know, start monitoring everything, you know. It sounds good, but absolutely not. So the way that you download stuff on your desktop, you simply click into it, and I forgot the H. And if I click into this link, it will simply go ahead and open up a window for me to download things, but that's not how you can do it from a server when you do not have a GUI. What you need to do is you have two options here. You can use something called curl, which the system probably has installed, which it does, or you can use a tool called wget, which the system probably does not have installed. Oh, nice. It does have it installed. So wget is what we're going to use here, just because it doesn't need any flags, whereas curl would need a flag for us to do this, and I don't want you to have to worry about flags. If you want to download something from the internet, if you need to download a package from a URL, you can do it in a couple different ways, but one of the most common ways is going to be using one of these command line tools to make web requests, either curl or wget to do so. So all we type in is wget and paste in the URL, and it simply goes ahead and it downloads a file for us and says, hey, I went ahead and saved this tree.deb here, and if I do an ls or an ll, I can see that this tree file is right here, and I have it ends in .deb. I know it's wrapping because of the screen space, but I do have that .deb file there. So I was able to download it, and now that it's on the computer, I can use it. That is what I just did, is the same thing as me clicking on the link in a browser and downloading it to my documents or something. Same exact thing. All I did was downloaded it. That's it. You could do it a really complicated way, but what fun is that? I mean, yeah, you know, I could do it in lots of complicated ways. I'll get it from the repo. I mean, so I think we can get there. I mean, when we build something, we're gonna have to build something from source tonight. So maybe we'll grab that from the repo, or the tar, doesn't really matter. But yeah, we'll probably make that, you know, we're starting slow. We're starting a little bit slow. All right, so now that we have this file here, the way that we can install this .deb file, and so a lot of times when you're working at a company, sometimes they'll have custom packages. Like if you're actually hands-on doing Linux administration and you actually have to be in the servers doing stuff, sometimes they'll have the company will have their own packages that they keep up to date, and maybe they'll pass them to you, or they'll have them on a server that you can pull down if you must install them this way. And then all you got to do to get them installed is simply do this right here, which is Dpkg-i and then the name of the package. So call Dpkg, which is the Debian package manager, The -I says, hey, it's a flag to install. I for install pretty easily, and then you just tell it what package you want to install. And let's go ahead and let's try that out. So Dpkg -I and the name of the package, which is right here. And I'll hit enter. It says, hey, you requested an operation, but that operation requires super user privileges. This is what I wanted you to see, because when you're installing things on the computer, this happens in Windows, this happens in Mac. A lot of times you're gonna pop up, ask you to put in your password to, you know, this action requires administrator privileges. This is the case here as well. So we're just gonna rerun that command. I'm gonna retype it instead of doing sudo bang bang, so you know what I'm doing. -I tree. So sudo, remember that sudo command allows you to escalate your privileges to administrator. You say, hey, I want to run this command, this current command only, well, and maybe the few following it as administrator. So go ahead and escalate my privileges, and it runs through pretty simply, and it does all the things that you want it to do. So this is a reading database, and it's reading all the files that are here, and it's preparing to unpack the thing, and it unpacks that file. So you don't know what to do with that .deb file, but Dpkg knows how to unpack it. It knows how to read it. It knows what to look for in here. And so that is what it is doing right now. And it's running through and simply trying to install it. I don't think it should take this long, but you know, we'll just, okay, it's done. It's completely done. And so now, before we did not have any tree command. And now if we type in tree, nice, we get some output. The base, like, yeah, we get some output. That's interesting. That's all it shows. Oh, because it's the only non-hidden file here. So if I go to like / and run tree, look at this. It's giving me a whole tree. I don't know why I did that. That was stupid. It's giving me a whole visualization of the directory tree of the Linux file system, and what's inside of everything. And so you can see these lines here that show relationships. I don't know why. That was really dumb. I don't know why I went into / to do that. Just my mind just was like, oh, go to /. But maybe I can just go to like Etsy is going to be equally as bad, but I'm still going to do it. Oh no, there's not much on here. And so it just shows you some relationships, and as you move down into folders, it's really nice. So nice quick day. It's a super nice quick way to be able to see these things. So tree, not important to have, but check it out as a tool that you may want to use for visualization sake. But yeah, so that's how we use it, using Dpkg, and we simply did a Dpkg -I, and we were able to get that installed. Now, you don't always want the app. You say, hey, I downloaded this .deb file. I thought it was the version that I wanted. I thought it was the application that I thought it was, but maybe I was looking for another application. Maybe there's an application called Tree that had, you know, displayed a tree inside of my terminal, and I thought that's the one that I was downloading, but it wasn't. So I say, hey, I want to get rid of this, and the way that you get rid of it is simply to do a -R. So -I says, hey, go ahead and install. -R says, all right, remove it. So it's equivalent to the uninstall. This will remove the links and the packages, all the stuff that you don't care about anymore. So if I want to get rid of tree, I simply do sudo Dpkg -R instead, and type in the name of the thing that I installed, and that's a lot faster. And now if I type in tree, it says, hey, tree is not found. So simple, very, very simple. You know, you're used to installing and uninstalling things on your desktop, and this is how you would do it using one type of package manager. The good thing about this is it's very similar between package managers. So yes, this is one of them. But as we kind of move through, we're gonna move through 4 of them tonight. They're all gonna start to feel very similar. You're gonna see it's very simple to move in between them. So I just want you to know how to install stuff and remove stuff. Yes, we are gonna talk about repositories as well tonight. Because that's a big deal. So let's move on to the next one. What is the next one? So we talked about Dpkg. Now let's just see what the same thing is in apt. Installing, you use apt install and then the name of the package. And to remove, you do apt remove the name of the package. Really nice, really simple, really cool. Makes perfect sense to us, I think, you know. Oops, going too far, and escape. And so let's do that really quick. And so let's use apt for the first time. Remember how we can see how to use an application. We can do either apt -- help. Well, let's just see what we type in. When we type in apt, it gives us kind of a help page here. It says, hey, apt is a command line package manager that provides commands for searching and managing, as well as querying information about packages. Now, so I was calling apt 1.6.2. What happens if I do apt get? So sometimes it goes to the same thing. Cool. Sometimes you'll see in different things, you'll see it say apt get instead of just apt. That's okay. Looks like they're aliases of one another, to be honest. Looks like this is an alias for apt now. So yeah, if you see that, it's okay. You can in fact type apt get. I'm used to typing apt get, so you'll see me do that a number of times. But apt is what we're going to be using, and all we're going to do is apt install and tree. Tree is the application that we wanted. Tree. Same error that we got before. I want you to see some of these errors because you'll see these a lot, and you see this error enough times, before anything happens, you'll know exactly what happens. And it says, hey, could not open lock file, permission denied. Whenever you see that permission denied in Linux, across the board, if you see permission denied, it's one of two things. And a lot of times it's because you did not have the correct privilege. Well, it's always because you didn't have the correct privileges, but this error usually tells you that you want to run the command with sudo. And so it says, hey, unable to do this, are you root? And they're basically kind of indicating to you, hey, maybe you should escalate your privileges if possible. And so we'll do it again. Sudo apt install tree. And it says there's no package tree. Now, that's okay. That's okay, but that might be because of another reason, which we're not at yet. And I actually thought that was going to be there. I think if I just do it on my local machine, I actually think it'll work. So I think this has to do with this version of, let me just see. Cause I feel like I install tree all the time without having to, might need an update, but I already have tree on here. Yeah, so tree is the package name, because it was referring to this. We're gonna talk about why that wasn't there, but this would have installed it. It says, hey, no apt package tree, but there's a snap with that name. They're trying to get me to use this other package manager. There's a new package manager called Snap. We're not going to use that at all today. Or we'll touch on it, but we're not going to use it at all. And I don't want you to worry about it right now. You're going to see it a lot, especially in the newest version of Ubuntu. It's okay to use. It's not a problem if you do use it, but you will likely never be using Snap, at least for a long time, in a workplace at all. So I wouldn't worry too much about how it works and diving too deep into that. This tree file is a thing in the package manager. My package manager right now currently is not up to date. It does not know about the package tree. And so this, do I even have slides for this? I should have slides for this. Let's see. I don't want to go too far ahead. And so what we want to do is, let's talk about updating, because I don't think it's here first. So you might say, all right, you're running this package manager. How does it know where to get packages from? How does it know what packages are? Like, how does it know where these things are? Because, you know, when you do install a package, it's got to go, it's got to reach out, it's got to download it from somewhere. How does it know these things? And it knows these things because it's got a repository of information. There's a place on the system. There's a repository list basically that has information about the places it can go check for packages. There's databases of packages in a lot of different places. There's also other sites and things where you can go get these Debian packages from. And right now it's configured to check a certain amount of them. But there's a database here, and it collects information about what it has available to it every so often. And sometimes that database needs to be updated. So we installed this. And generally when you install a new version of Linux, one of the first things you want to do is do an update. And so this actually does something different here than it actually does in Red Hat. But what it's doing right now, an update in Debian based distributions using apt, what it does is it goes out and it reaches out to the mirrors, and it reaches out to the repositories that it knows about, everything in its repository list. It reaches out to grab information, to grab data about what's there, what's available, package versions, things like that, to know what it can get. And you can see at the bottom here, it says, hey, 26 packages can be upgraded. Run this command to see them, to see which packages can be upgraded. But it knows that because it goes out to these places, it updates its database that says, hey, I see that you're running version 5 of this application and version 3 of this application, but this application is up to version 6 and 4, and now you are able to update them. We now know about these updates, and you can go ahead and upgrade them to their newest version. And so that's what happens here when you do that update. Now, this is probably enough for me to now run tree. And so installing tree is working now. You might say, what? You didn't do anything but run the update. Again, what I did was I told apt to update its databases of all the locations that it knows about to get these different deb files, to get these different deb packages and update the information in them. And in doing so, it was able to find that there is a tree package in one of these repositories, and now it knows where to get it from and where to install it. You can run, you should be running this update fairly often, because you do want to know about outdated packages. You want to know about security updates and upgrades and things. But yes, before really good system hygiene, frequency hop is to update before you install pretty much anything, and especially when you first install the OS. Appreciate that, Road Cow. Thank you so much. But yes, always stay as up to date as possible. Now, again, what you want to know, the difference between update and upgrading is that update just gets all that information. It updates the databases inside of apps, and so now it knows what's available to it. It knows what versions of things are available. It knows about updates, but these things are not upgraded until you run that apt upgrade. I'm not going to run it right now because it's possible that it could take a long time, and we don't really need to update. Well, you know what? I am going to do it because I can always log in with another session, and it might be pretty quick, and we can go over some more slides. So actually, before I did that, let me scroll back up. It ran through and it says, hey, these are all the new things that are going to be installed in your computer right here. And so it gives me a list of all the new things when I run that upgrade of things that are going to be installed. And then it tells me, hey, these are going to be new. These are the things that you already have that are going to be upgraded in this process. And so it's a good practice to take a look at these things. Make sure you're okay with these things being upgraded, and it will ask you every time. It'll say, hey, do you want to continue? Like, I'm letting you know how much space I need. I'm letting you know what applications will be installed, which ones will be upgraded. Do you want to do this? And when I click yes, it goes through and handles all that for me. Sometimes there are things like this where there's an interactive prompt in between, which kind of sucks sometimes. I'm not even gonna read this. I'm gonna keep the local version currently installed. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm just gonna keep hitting enter. It's talking about grub. I know what they're talking about, but don't worry about that. Sometimes you'll hit that, do some Googling, try to understand what you are doing before you just hit buttons willy-nilly, because sometimes those can have implications. But yeah, I just kind of left those things as is. I'm actually surprised grub is on here, but no big deal. Now my packages are upgraded. So now watch this. If I rerun the update, I just updated. If I rerun an update, really nothing happens. All packages are up to date. So that's how you can confirm, that you can run it as many times as you want, but you can confirm that things are updated. And then again, because things are updated, I can't upgrade anything either. So it'll say, hey, 0 things were upgraded, 0 newly installed, 0 removed, 0 upgraded. So great. You can just, it's okay to run it to make sure that you're up to date. It's generally a safe thing to do. This does something different on the update versus the upgrade are different on Red Hat based distributions. So we'll talk about that once we get there. How do you fix it when you have broken packages? You can use the Dpkg log error. Yes. So there are a couple different ways to do that, and it's really hard to talk through it if it's not happening currently. But the first way is, again, the Dpkg kind of fix packages thing that you can do. If you're getting that lock error, it's because something's holding open kind of the session that's needed to be able to run these things. There's a lock file in there, and that lock file is not closed. It's still open. And what you have to do is you have to go find that lock file, or go find that process, either kill it or destroy that lock file to start the process over again to be able to run the commands that you normally run. Yeah, I'll try to show you. I'll try to show some of that to you later. I think we're going to be talking about lock files maybe next time. I think, but when we're going over like file operations and stuff, because there are different types of files that we're going to be talking about. But yeah. And again, update versus upgrade. Update, this is specific to Debian based distributions. It's specific to apt. Update grabs all the newest information, updates the databases with, hey, the available versions of applications, different places you can get them from, and it doesn't actually change anything, any of the actual packages. And upgrade actually goes through and upgrades those packages. My favorite Linux package is maybe it's one that I just learned about, but there's one, I don't know if it's, I think it's called SL. I only learned about it very recently. I think this is it. Let's see. Yes, so someone made a package for people who type fast and mess up typing in LS. And so, you know, people type fast and actually type in SL, and a train goes by. That is my favorite Linux package. Completely useless. I usually don't install it, but I think it's really cool. I think it's really funny. It's really, I don't know, it's so stupid. But yeah, it's probably my favorite one. All right, so that's apt. How can you see some packages installed, what packages are installed? This is something that you might want to do. You can use either one of them to do this, and sometimes it's hard to parse the information that's happening, so you know it's a little weird. But the way that you would do that is Dpkg-L will list out the packages that are installed. Again, very hard to parse through. You'll need some more Linux skills to be able to parse this readily. You know, we're gonna learn about things like grep, and I can say, hey, do I have tree installed? And yep, I do in fact have tree installed. And so that's gonna come into play when you have a little bit more knowledge. But Dpkg-L list out all the packages that are here. Actually, I think you might need to do list. No, that does everything installed locally. And for apt, it's apt list -- installed. And so don't worry about memorizing these. You'll get them. You can always Google them. Say, hey, you know, if there's a situation where you need to see all installed packages and you want to determine if a package is installed, you might Google it, and you know, you just know that package managers will give you this information. Let's do apt list -- installed, and this will give me the same list. It's formatted differently. You know, it's formatted differently, but it is still very, very valuable. And what else we have here? I think we have like one or two more things with this, and we're basically going to take this and do the exact same thing with our Red Hat counterparts. So you can do some searching for packages. Now, I wouldn't stress yourself out about this. I personally, I've even been using Linux for a long time. I do not search for package names from using the package managers. I find it to be very finicky. And you know, it's just an art that I don't have down yet, and maybe I just haven't seen the true benefit of it. Maybe I should try. But you can, if you're not sure what a package is called, like if I thought the tree package was something different, I could query to see a certain package name. So I could do Dpkg query -s and choose the package name. So I could like this will query the database and say, hey, what do you have available to me of this name? So Dpkg query -s. I don't know what the S does. We can find out in a second. And let's do like Apache. And so Apache's not going to come up on Ubuntu. And I get some output. I don't really get anything. But what happens if I do HTTPD, no path found matching pattern HTTP? But if I type in HTTP, it's just going to match all the things that have it in here. And I don't find it to be particularly useful. I don't love it at all. I won't say at all, but not a huge fan, to be 100% honest. With it, but you can search package names if you need to from the command line, and I want you to know that you can, not necessarily that you have to. Apt, you can do the same thing with apt search package name. And so the things that sucks about this is you already have to have at least an inkling of what the package is called to even be able to try to search. So that's the reason why I haven't found it very useful. Like, if I have no idea what the package name is called, then like I've got to go to Google. This seems really dumb to me, but if I do the same thing here, I will get a bunch of stuff that, is not at all what I cared about. The package that I actually cared about was, it's not showing at all. Or is it, what is it here? I don't know what the package is on here, but you can see it's not, I don't find it useful. Maybe you do. I don't find it useful. But you can search for packages in a package manager. Oh yeah, Apache too. I don't even know why I did. I just haven't even used Apache in so long. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense, and it's probably way up, but it's a lot of, stupid. It's dumb. It matches everything, and there's probably some flags you can throw in there to make it better. I ain't worried about that. I'll just Google it. My Google skills are phenomenal. I'm the greatest Googler of all time. No one can stop me. Pretty simple. But you can also go online to this website. This is where the official kind of Debian packages go. This does not mean that the thing you're looking for is going to be here. This is just Debian's repository of packages. So a lot of things are here. A lot of official packages are here. But it does not mean everything is there, so don't trip about that. But you can search here as well if you need to do it. Apache 2 gets the job done for sure. Like Apache, I'm a long time Apache user as well. I just haven't used it in a long time. But Apache's great. It's better at a lot. It's definitely better at a lot. All right. So before we move into, we'll do the repository stuff together. Let's just go through. Let's do the Yum stuff real quick. So that was Ubuntu package management. Let's focus on the Red Hat a little bit. And you'll see that we're going to be following the exact same format, and it's going to feel very, very familiar to you in the way that you do stuff. So this is something that I'm not quite as I'm very well versed in Yum. I am not well versed in DNF, but we'll talk about that. Red Hat based distributions. Think Red Hat, think CentOS, think Fedora. There are more. These are the three big key ones. This is the enterprise offering. This is the open source lane of the enterprise. It's basically a clone of Red Hat, and Fedora is kind of the more desktop version of these, but also it has these are stable, and this one has some cutting edge things in it. Is it's using much newer packages. It takes on things much faster. What's DNF? Great question. You obviously have also not used Red Hat based distributions recently, but yes, 100%. Because this was something that maybe a year ago I started to see this, and it really threw me for a loop. But Yum is the package manager that you're going to likely see everywhere. And when you're working, you're probably going to be working in some type of Red Hat based distribution. Yum is what you're going to be using, and that's what it is. It's called the Yellow Dog Updater. Modified, not modifies, modified. Dumb name. I have no idea what it means. Maybe it's not a dumb name, but I think it's a dumb name because I have no idea what the origin is. But Yum, that's what people call it. So a lot of people will say, hey, go ahead and Yum install it or something like that. So Yum is the package manager. It's just like apt, but it has different features. DNF is apparently the new it's called Danfield Yum, and it's basically the new package manager. It's kind of it's a little bit like Dkpg and apt. But Yum is actually pretty feature rich. DNF expands on Yum, and so it's kind of like the next version of Yum. I don't know why I don't know. Really confusing to me. If you are to use one of these, it's made it the default. Like, it's actually the default on newer versions of Fedora. I think since Fedora 18 or something, it's been the default version. The newer versions of Red Hat and CentOS as well. It will still allow you, like, Yum is still there. If you type in Yum, it'll basically say, hey, did you mean DNF install or something? And it's really weird. It confuses me, but I don't know. So Yum versus DNF. Apparently, I don't know this for sure, but DNF has better dependency management and memory optimization. So that all sounds great. I'm not worried about that too much, and I don't think that's the problem of the switch. I think this bottom one is the big reason why the switch was made, and why it had to be made, which makes sense. And this is that DNF has both Python 2 and Python 3 support. So for anyone who does not know, Python is a programming language, a very popular programming language. A lot of things are built in Python, but Python 2, Python made some weird decisions in the way that it went, and Python 3 and Python 2 are not compatible. They're not completely compatible. It was kind of a fork. It was basically like a fork in the road, and a lot of people stuck on Python 2 for a long time. Python 2 is no longer supported as of like January 1st of this year or something like that. It is no longer supported. There's no more updates to Python 2. And so all these companies have been scrambling to convert their stuff over to Python 3 or another programming language, or just maintain their massive amounts of Python 2 code. And so I think this is the main problem, is that, hey, we run an enterprise software, Red Hat runs enterprise software, and Yum, this package manager that we've used forever, does not support the supported version of Python. It only supports Python version 2, as far as I know. It only supported Python version 2, and DNF supported Python version 3. And this is the main reason why I think the switch happened. If anyone knows more than me, please let me know, because I still think it's odd. Like, Yum was it's such a big part. I feel it is really weird. So I'm not sure why they switched it, but still good. It's very similar. But yes, you can use Yum. You can, the same way that we install that deb file, you can also use it to install RPM files. Now, RPMs are the Red Hat package manager. So Red Hat has its own package manager. It is not the preferred way to install software on a Red Hat box, which is super weird, but it is there. It is there for you to use. You can in fact use Yum to install these things, and you download a RPM file and you run Yum local install and the name of that package. Now, I'm not going to do that. Well, I can. Let's do the same thing. Let's do tree RPM package. Let's see if it works. Let's start out over here first, and let's do an update. And so I'm gonna do a sudo sudo DNF update, I guess. I guess that's better. Cool. So this is gonna do the same thing, but update inside of Red Hat based distributions does more than the one in Debian based. What it'll actually do here is, you can actually see it'll give me a bunch of different things here, and it says, hey, I'm going to install 4 packages and upgrade 26 packages. This does a similar thing to upgrade, but not the same thing. What it's doing is the update in Red Hat grabs all patches and security updates. So patches and security updates, not feature updates, but packages and security updates that have been released. And so an update in Red Hat will in fact make changes to packages. That is something very important to know, because again, very different functionality here. And so, be cognizant of that. Updating and Red Hat distributions changes packages. It actually installs things, so you got to be wary. But in Debian based distributions, you might be updating. I know people who have gone from Red Hat based distributions to Ubuntu or something, and thought they were, put in an automatic update script and thought that they were updating, pulling in their security patches and stuff, and they were not. Well, generally not a huge deal, but if you thought you were doing something and you weren't, that might be problematic on your job. So be wary of that. Yum is deprecated as a yep. It's like fancy Yum. So EC2 instance, we can use either Yum or DNF in user data. I think so. I do think so. I think so. Well, apparently as of RHEL 8, it's not. But enterprises are slow to move to the new versions of RHEL and CentOS. It's probably, even though it's deprecated, it'll probably, when you type it in, it's probably set up, it's so popular that it's probably set up to run DNF instead. It's probably Symlink or something, but we'll see. We'll check that out. I actually don't even know what version I'm running, so I don't know. I hate Yum DNF. It's so slow compared to apt. Yeah, I agree. I think the whole Red Hat experience, I think, is a little weird. It's stable, it works well, but like it just feels old all around to me. But hey, I understand why people love it. I prefer Debian based for everything except for enterprise applications. And the reason that I prefer Red Hat based for enterprise applications is due to compatibility. Almost every other situation, I prefer Debian based distributions, especially for desktop computing. That's one of the reasons why I was using Fedora for a while. Like, man, Debian has really done a good job of packaging up the applications that people need, that people care about easily. I found the last time I was running Fedora, a lot of like developer apps and stuff, like I had to go install them from source, and I was like, whack. I've gotten lazy over the years and I didn't want to do that. So yeah, I don't think you can use DNF in Amazon Linux. So yeah, I also don't think you can use DNF in Amazon Linux, but Amazon does some weird things with Python as well, just like Mac does. So I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of works most of the time. So you can see this update is taking a little while to do. Let's talk about more while this is happening, because we have a lot to talk about. So I'm gonna get you out of here. So we're gonna install the package, but again, the same thing. To install something, we're gonna do yum install the package name, yum remove the package name when we want to remove it. So you see that paradigm. Call the package manager and either tell it what you want to do, either install or uninstall, and give it the name of the package that you want. Again, to know the name of the package, you're probably gonna have to search for it. If you're working at a company or something, they'll probably give it to you. You'll know what you need to install, or someone will tell you what you need to install. But that's all you got to do. Yum install, apt install, yum remove, apt remove. Dpkg-I for install, dpkg-R for remove. So it all gets pretty simple. Yum or DNF. And so again, look how yum is exactly the same. The commands for the basic things are exactly the same as DNF. There are differences in some of the other commands, so I wouldn't be wary of that. If you never learned yum, it sounds like it's the time to simply dive straight into DNF. So I would go through and dive straight into DNF if I were you, so that you are not confused. But you might run into systems that are older, because again, enterprises move relatively slow and they may still be using yum. So I did want you to be familiar with both of them. I think that's going to be very important. I think also I like to talk about things like this is, again, these are the questions you can go do a little bit of research on and milk in an interview. Not that you'll get asked this, but you can say, hey, I really want to show them that I understand Linux. Maybe I'm not the best at it, but I want to show them I understand it, and figuring out a way to start a conversation about these two technologies and which one you have feelings about, or even if you're just like me, like, hey, I'm really confused about the move here and I think it's because of this. But like learning just random facts and things about these technologies really helps. I think that kind of conversation is super valuable. Showing that you've taken the time to start to analyze technologies and their usefulness in your workflow, I think is, again, something that just makes people, one, really feel like you know what you're talking about. Like, hey, you know, maybe they're not the best, but they know this, they know something, they dive into something, they have opinions about these things. And again, you can use it for conversation as well to fill up some of that time. I found that whenever I start talking about, again, very specific things like this and diving into my feelings about things like this, is when you know, interviewers start to feel like, it's like, oh, like, okay, this guy knows technology a little bit, and it's, you know, it's helpful. Let's see, does DNF support tabbing for package names? So let's say I want to install PHP curl, can I type in? I don't know, that's a good question. Let's find out right now. So let's say DNF, let's do sudo DNF install. First off, why would you want to install PHP? But hey, you know, I mean, I don't think so. 7.2, yeah, nope, it's not giving me anything, so I don't think it does. Does Yum though? I don't think Yum does either. I think that's I think you have to have specific packages installed to allow for something like that. I know Fstab is something to do with mounting disks. Yep, you can use Fstab to declare like dismounting at boot up and things. There's some interesting things you can do with Fstab. Can you install Windows software on Linux and vice versa? I've heard of using Proton or Wine. So those things, Proton and Wine, those are specific to, well, they're not specific to, but they're more commonly used on Linux desktop. Wine is a Linux emulator. I mean, it's a Windows emulator in Linux, and Proton is a framework. It's a layer in Steam actually to help you have some game compatibility. And yeah, I mean, you especially now with Windows Subsystem for Linux, you can install Linux apps in Windows, even though it's still in Linux. And you can install some things. Wine's not perfect at all. And that's the biggest reason why I think the Linux desktop hasn't taken off more, is because of compatibility. Your favorite programs probably do not work in Linux, unfortunately. So, you know, you mean Electron is basically, yeah, Electron. I think you mean Proton. Proton is for Steam. But yeah, Electron is a JavaScript framework that allows you to, you know, run JavaScript applications on the desktop. Oh, yeah, I think that command was already there. Maybe not, but you added it, so cool. That works. Okay, so let's keep moving. That's package management, kind of as a whole. You can list and search things. We talked about those repositories a little bit. All I'm going to say about the repositories, because I do think that's a little deep right now, and we're going to have to use these repositories later, so it'll make a little more sense in context. But right now, my computer only knows about applications that exist within the repositories in which it's set up for. So there's a lot of times when you need to go get a new piece of application and it exists in a repository that is not available on your computer yet, and you'll have to add in that repository. There's a number of different ways to do it that both distributions allow to do this, but all it basically does is it pulls in another place for you to get packages from, and once you add it, you do another update, and then it updates all the information internally, and now you're able to download extra packages from elsewhere. Again, we might, if we have time, we'll dive into actually setting up a new package for that, a new repository there. But what if there's no package at all? What if you cannot find a package for the application that you care about for your given distribution? And that means you can install it from a source. So for the most part, Linux, like I said, distributions aren't all that different. They're just different tools and things. And so generally you can install anything that's compiled for Linux on Linux, assuming you have all of the right dependencies. And so sometimes the person will not have packaged up this application for your system. So there's no deb for it, there's no RPM for it. And what you have to do is you have to build it from source. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to build an application from source really quick. And let's do like the easiest ones are programming languages. So let's do something like Go. Golang. And actually give you a package site. I'm not gonna build, well, I'll go to their actual package site. Let's download Golang. So what I'm going to do is, so Go has a package for these things, but again, you can install these things from source, and they're giving me a source file here. So basically what installing an application from source is it is taking the source files. So the actual files that were written to make this application work, you are basically getting a package that has all these things. So yes, it is still a package. It's going to come in this tar file. It's going to come in some type of archive. Maybe you can also grab it from, you know, GitHub or something, but you're going to grab the actual files that are needed to run this program, and you are going to build it. You are going to compile this application into an executable that can be used on your system. And so you're gonna take this thing and take these files, and you're gonna translate it into something that the machine can now read and take in and actually run. And so we'll do that with Go real quick. We'll download Go 1.14.4, and it says the kind of source here. Now there's a bunch of others for Mac OS here. There are all kinds of stuff in here that I could use to install, but I'm going to do this. Now you're going to learn a few things really quick that you don't know. Don't sweat that yet, because we're going to dive into each of these commands later in this course. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and copy link address, and we're going to reuse some of the commands that we've already learned tonight. And I'm going to go here, and I'm simply going to, I actually don't think that is going to be here. Let's see if I can install it. The only reason I'm doing this is because honestly, I forgot whatever you need. Actually, I forgot what you need for curl. So I think you have to do, let's try it with curl. I never remember the flag. It's a -o for the output file, and I will put go.tar.gz and paste this in, and okay, I do know what I'm doing sometimes. I think so. That was with curl instead of wget, but you can see how it looks similar. It looks similar to what we did with the other thing. Now there's this file here. This seems small, but I don't know. So now what I'm going to do is this file that it downloads, this archive, imagine it to be like a zip file. It's just a singular file type that contains a bunch of other files inside of it. And this one's also compressed like a zip file. I'm basically going to go ahead and I'm going to unzip this. And I usually have to look up this every time. But I think I've memorized it at this point. It's not in gzip format, so that means I need to remove the, why can't I see my thing? Tar xvf. Which one is for tar? Oh, X. I'm dumb. ZVF, tar, ZVF, go. You must specify what's happening here. Hold on. So maybe I downloaded this wrong. Actually, I think it's the way that I downloaded it, to be honest, and not actually what I'm doing. And install wget, because I do think this is pretty small. Why can't I see the cursor? Sudo apt yum install wget real quick, and I'm gonna wget and paste this in. All right, so there we go. So see, I knew that was wrong. Look at this. This is the file size right here. I knew it was way off. I was like, that looks really wrong to me. I'm glad I figured it out before trying too many things. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna tar -xzvf. So basically all I'm doing is unzipping this file. And so when I hit that, it basically says, all right, I'm going to expand this file out and you know, give, like, now it's no longer going to be compressed like a zip file would be. And it gives me this Go folder. It's actually a folder. So I'm going to go into the Go folder. All right. So let's go back to the slides really quick. And let's go to the next slide. Where are we? What? We're supposed to be, we'll do one more after this, but no biggie. We can still build it from source. Building things from source require some build tools. First, there are a bunch of tools that are needed to build applications from source. And so I'm gonna make sure I have those. Yum install, I think it's build dash essentials. And so this is a sudo. And so you can't just build these things easily. You need a C compiler and some other stuff. Yum install build essential. Ooh, was I close? Was I close? Oh, group install. Oh, I'm thinking of Debian based. It was build essentials on Debian, but it's yum group install. Okay. And so a group install is going to install more things than just one. And so this is going to install everything that I need to be able to build applications from source. And let's see. Like I said, I typed in build essential because it is on Debian based things. It's build essential. And so this comes with a number of applications in it. Don't sweat it. Just all I want you to know from this, don't memorize development tools, build essentials. Don't worry about that. The thing that I want you to get what we're building right now is that sometimes an application that you need is not going to be packaged for your system. And the way that you install it is you're going to need to install it from source. And that there are certain tools and things that need to be available to you to be able to do that, because like I just need you to know that much, because when the time comes, if you just simply Google it, like your errors when you try to install it without having these tools, the answer, people will tell you, hey, you need to go ahead and install these tools. You are missing the tools necessary to compile software for Linux. And so let's see. Can you paste the URL if people want to follow along? Yes, I can. Oh, never mind. City grabbed you already grabbed it. Thank you. Sorry for waiting so long to see that. Targs try. Yeah, I mean, oh, that makes sense. That makes I love that's perfect. Frequency hop. It took me forever to. I mean, I know what they mean now, but it took me forever to remember which flags were which. And then one day I needed to compress, and I had never compressed before, and I was like, oh no, now I need to learn something completely new. Well, you can see it installed a bunch of stuff, and it installed everything that I needed to do. And so I'm in this, I'm in the folder for Go. So I uncompress this archive, and when it's uncompressed, it gives me this folder, which is Go. And I'm going to CD into the Go directory. So I'm going to change into the Go directory. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run /configure. And so, whoops. Oh, I need to go to source as well. Let's see. They're configuring here. No, it should be here. Let's see. Let me vim the readme cat readme. Install from source. If binary distributions available for combination. Let's read this really quick. Let's actually read this. I'm gonna be mad if there's an actual, I'm gonna be mad if there's an actual like build all script. I want to actually use the normal workflow for installing things from source. Production, binaries. So I'll get if needed. Fetch the repository. You're right. Whack. This is not a good piece of software to use for this. What can we build from source? Ruby. I bet we can do Ruby from source. So basically, Go does it gives you a build. It gives you an easy way to build it. It seems like it's out of the paradigm of what we want or what I want to show you. Let's see. Let's try this. Tar XVF Ruby. Oh yeah, build the Linux kernel so that you know, it can just eat up my computer for the rest of what we're doing right now. We could do that. I should have done. I should build them from source. Let's see if this is good for us. And so we got a bunch of stuff here. And the first thing you're gonna do is gonna run a /configure. And what /configure is gonna do is it is going to go through and manage. So there's a file in here. There are files in here that are set up to tell it to do this. This is how you set up your applications to be compiled for Linux, and it's going through and it's checking for dependencies, and it's going through and doing all these things that's checking for you know, making sure I have what I need, and getting things ready to go. So it's configuring everything to be installed, and so that was actually pretty quick. And so it's 3 commands to build from source generally. Now there might be a lot of stuff in between. But just to show you first, I don't think I have Ruby installed. Yeah, Ruby command not found. And so we ran the first piece. So the first thing is /configure. You're gonna configure everything first that is in that directory. Then what you're gonna do, there's a file in here called a make file, and we're gonna run this make command. And what this does is this takes the output of that configuration, and it starts to compile in all the pieces, compile all the tools and binaries that are needed. It starts to compile them together to create what's needed for this executable and for this application. And so it makes you feel cool when you build from source, even though it's not that difficult at all. But it just takes a little bit longer. You are doing these things are actually done beforehand when they're packaged up for .debs and for Yum or DNF. But yeah, we are logged into Red Hat. This is actually Red Hat. We're logged into a EC2 instance, so an AWS cloud instance. So it's taking a bit of time. I use Pop OS, which is built by Simpson 76. But tonight, because we're doing some package management, we're both in an Ubuntu server right now, and we are in a Red Hat server at the same time, just to kind of show the differences between package managers. And so everything that we're doing over here, we could do this exact same thing on the right. Installing from source doesn't matter. You can use either one, no big deal either way. Because again, you're compiling this for Linux. Distributions aren't different operating systems, they're just different collections of tools and packages. And so let's take a little bit of time. I'll let it go through and do this. The last command that we're gonna have to do is a make install. So we did 3 things. If you want to install from source, you do 3 things, and feel free to Google it. It'll come up and it should tell you exactly what to do. The first thing you do is you configure. You log into you move into the directory and you configure the application, and that's gonna fix all your dependencies and stuff. So /configure first. Then you're gonna make it. You're gonna make that directory. You're gonna run the make command, which is gonna start the compilation of different tools and things. And then you're gonna do the make install, which is gonna take the output from this stuff. It's gonna take, you know, all these configured things. This is going to install the actual application to where it needs to be on the machine. And it's gonna get everything in a point where the application actually works now. So configure, make, and make install are the 3 things you do to install an application from source. And people look at this to be the most difficult way to install things, and it is. It's harder, but it's 3 commands. It really is 3 commands. You will run into issues time to time with missing dependencies and things like that, which should get taken care of by the configure, but sometimes that's not the case. So yeah, Yeah, this EC2 instance is I probably should have did a small instead of a micro, but you know, we like to put it through its pay. We're paying, you know, we're paying for it, so we're gonna use it. You know, no big deal. What are my thoughts on distros like Arch and Gentoo? I was an Arch user for a while, a long time Linux user. I like them a lot. I actually really like being able to guide your experience. I also really liked I learned a lot from using Arch the first time. But again, I like the minimalists. Like, hey, if you want it, you got to install it. Pretty simple. I think they're cool. I really like them a lot. The only reason I've kind of moved away from them into things like Pop! OS is, again, just the time that I have, I'm doing a little less exploratory Linux usage, and I'm usually trying to get things done. And you know, I just want what I want, and I want it to work quick. Like, I just want it to work. And a lot of times, you know, it would be my fault, but I would break my own Arch distribution. I will break Arch trying to do something cool or to install something, and I kind of don't have time for that right now. So yeah, I think they're cool though. I really like them. I do recommend people who are getting into Linux eventually trying out some type of Arch distro. I've never had a faster laptop than the laptop I had that when I got Arch on there, and I just had exactly what I needed, and man, the thing was blazing fast, and you know, really good experience. But yeah, the problem is the dependencies. That's what makes it difficult. Yeah, I agree, the dependencies for sure. I saw your Zero to Hero Linux videos on your YouTube channel. Does this series cover the same intro concepts? It covers the same intro concepts, but this goes past that series. Pretty much what we finish up tonight is going to cover, I think, everything in that in that video series. This is going to go deeper into the management of Linux and like actually using it for real things, like that you would in the workplace. But yeah, you're not going to be a Linux expert after this. This is a foundational Linux course, but it's definitely going to give you, wow, I don't know where that went. It's going to give you, like, you can use these tools. Like, it might take you a while to learn them, but like the tools that we learn tonight, you can use to get you by whatever you go into. Like, you can use these tools to get you by. Like, it'll really get you by. Yeah, I know devs with way less, like, who don't know half the things that you're going to learn in here. I know sysadmins who know, like, who only know this much and get paid a lot of money to know this much about Linux. That's their job, is to know this much Linux that we're learning here. Okay, so it did the make, and now we're going to just do make install. And the make install, if it's going to fail, it's going to fail on the make or make install. Sometimes it needs a sudo. But I'm going to let that go, and hopefully Ruby will be installed. But the goal is for you to know that you can build an application. You can compile it for your distribution, even if there's not a package available for your package manager. So that's all I want you to know about that. We'll check back in on that in a second. Now what we'll do, while this is building to the left, we will talk about process management on the right. So see, yep, we got an error here, permission denied. Let's do this again real quick. And the reason we probably got that is probably because it's trying to put the application somewhere that it can't. But all right, so process management. This part is, we're gonna move pretty quickly on here because of time, but process management is pretty important. Remember, these Linux computers, they're just normal computers, just like your computer now. If your computer is really struggling and having a hard time, on Windows, you usually right click and you go into process, the task manager, and you say, hey, what's going on here? What's happening inside of here? And you check what's using the most CPU, or you check what's using the most memory, and you go in and, you know, you say, hey, Xbox Games Bar, you're killing me. Let me go ahead and end this task. It's not, but like, that's kind of how things would work. If you're Windows, if you're on Mac, there's activity monitor so that you can see what's running on the computer, what processes are doing what, and we need to be able to do the same thing in Linux. Remember, Linux is just a computer. It's just like your desktop. And so we have a couple commands that allow us to do some stuff. PS is the main one that you're going to use, with some flags though. So let's see what a PS command looks like. And this actually failed because OpenSSL. So this would have installed everything, but it failed. Dependencies, exactly what Barada Toxica said. The problem with installing things from source is, remember we said yum, we said apt. They have some smart dependency management algorithms in there that will take care of installing the things that you need, and in the order that you need them actually as well. Installing things from source does not have that, and this actually fails because it says, hey, I can't load this file. Whenever it says that, it basically means that file's not there. So OpenSSL, not here. So I probably need to go install OpenSSL and then try to do this again. And let me just rant just really quick. OpenSSL. Maybe that's the package name, maybe it's not. What's up, Techni CC? Welcome to the channel. Already installed, but not working. So I would have to do a bunch of other things, but that's the general path that you take to get these things installed. Configure, make, install. Configure, make, install. That's how you install things from source. You will probably run into problems, and your Linux foo will get you out of those problems. Just want you to be aware of it. I do not need you to know how to do it right now at all. But process management. This is a computer running. This is an Ubuntu computer running, and we want to know what the heck is running on it. And the first thing we can do is we can type in ps. All right, and ps just gives us, you know, it says bash and ps. So it gives us some processes. Up top, it gives us a PID. This is called the process ID. This is the ID that's unique to the process that's running. You get a TTY. This stands for teletype. And this gives you the device that is there for you to have inputs for it. And so this is actually the location of my keyboard. Everything in Linux, like I said, is a file. Even your devices, even if I have printers and all this other stuff, mice, whatever, they're all files. And so it's pointing at this thing, the time that's been running and the command that's actually running. And so you might say only two things running. It's really weird. Well, that's a raw ps command. You can put a lot of modifiers on here. Remember, you can make Linux commands better or do different things using different flags. And the one that you want for everything is dash. Well, this is really weird actually. I did ps-awx, and this gave me all of the things that are running on here currently. It's overwhelming. You know, it doesn't really make any sense to you, but that is how you find out what's there. What's up, Llama with Memory Laws? Good to have you. Welcome to the channel. I like your name. It's a really cool name. Like it a lot, actually. And so now you can see what's running. You can also see some other things here, like the same thing that we saw in Windows with the Windows. What is happening? Why is everything going so slow? Okay, with the memory and the CPU and the disk usage and things, and like the actual thing that's running. And actually, if I go over here in the details, it's a little more like this. These same things are here. So the process ID, the CPU that each of these things is taking up, the memory, and then some other things that we're not going to worry about right now. But yeah, so the ps command is just, if you want to see processes that are running, the ps command will give you that. You might have to give it a few flags to get what you want. This is not the best way to check processes. I only use ps right now to quickly check if an application is running or not. And you might say, oh, Aaron, how would you check if something is running or not? Maybe I wanted to, again, use Nginx, check if Nginx was running, and I'd use that grep command that we did earlier. So I'm gonna run ps awx, and I might grep for like Nginx or something. And if nothing comes back, so nothing came back here, I know that Nginx is not currently a process that is currently running. So that's the only reason I use this. The only difference between ps awx is that the W is for wide output. And so if I do this, there's actually one less column here, I'm pretty sure. Or there's supposed to be. They look the same though, but let's do ps man ps. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure the W is darn it. Let's see what the W does. Come on, I could just search for it, but I thought it would be right at the top. Output control is what I think it is. The W, there's no W there. Output modifiers. Now I really want to know. Oh yeah, wide output for unlimited width. So without it, it sets its actual width. Wide output is for unlimited width. I think that has to do with it like changes text wrapping, I'm pretty sure, and some other things. But yeah. Does that command different, or does that tell you system process? Yeah, it's very similar. So these are just all little modifiers that add a different little piece of functionality in there. What's the command to know what port the process is using? So I don't use PS to do that. I use netstat to do that. Dash toolpin, or I see people do. It's funny because people will use these same letters and use them in a different way. They do like plunt or something, and I always think it's something different, but it's not. This is how I originally learned it, and I just kept it in this order because it's easy for me to remember. But I use netstat to know what's taking up ports because I only care about the ports that are in process. I actually never use PS for that. I'm sure there's a way for PS to do that, but I use netstat for it. Yeah, plunt. Yeah, it's really funny because the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, what's this new netstat command this person's using? And then it gave me the same output. And I was like, wait, what's different? And I went and looked. I was like, this is exactly what I use. Exactly. But so I will fully so I'm fully admitting this to you. Like, I don't most of the commands that I run now, I know what all the things netstat's one of the ones where I've never even checked on what these flags are. I know how to check on what these flags are, but like I said, my first job actually sat down and taught me Linux for 6 months, and some of the things that I still run to this day are things that they just taught me to do, and I wrote it down in my book. And whenever I was like, hey, I know that when I need to do this to run this command, and it became muscle memory, and these are things that I just started to do. And so we'll run into a number of commands. I'll try to call out the commands that are like that I just like. I'll look at what all these mean one day, but it does the job for me, so I don't know. And so it's actually really weird thinking about that. Like, this is like, I learned this really early on, and I've just been using it ever since. It's pretty interesting. It's -B instead of P on Windows netstat to show process names. Interesting. Very interesting. It works. Fun to look sometimes to see what extra options tools have. Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting because it took me surprisingly long to really start to dive into modifiers and what the different arguments did. Like, I was hell-bent on learning new commands to do things, and so like I had like built up this like huge repertoire of commands, but like I didn't know anything about their modifiers and stuff, and like almost everything I did was like, hey, whatever the first guide I find tells me how to use this command, I'm gonna write that down, and that's what I'm gonna use. And then I don't know, then one day I started to use them, and I was like, oh man, like I wish I had done this before, because then my life would have been easier. Sometimes it sucks though, trying to look through and find out what different things do. But yeah, you know, and that's okay. But I want you to be clear. Like right now, when you're first learning, feel free to write. Like, you should write this down. You should write the ones that I do down so that you can use in the future and say, hey, I saw Aaron do this to show a bunch of processes, and write that down in your book, in your notes. And next time, you know, you need to look in you're like, hey, how do I see those processes again? And you look at it, and you'll do it, and you'll start to learn what it does, and you start to look up what each of these things are. You know, take it in steps. I'm not expecting you to understand, you know, all of these things all at once, but take your time with it. Okay. So that's the PS command. There's a bunch of modifiers to do different things with the PS command. Again, it's good. I use different tools to actually find out processes. There's PS tree. PS tree is not available on every distro by default. But we don't need to worry about that right now. And it shows you a kind of tree of things, kind of like just the tree command that we did. It shows you a tree of processes, and you can specify certain things and get different information. This is not really super important. Like, I threw it on there, but I probably shouldn't have thrown it on there. Actually, I am going to remove it. Don't worry about PS tree right now. Worry about PS. Worry about top. H-top's definitely staying on here. So top is the command that I like to use to find out the information that I want to find out. I'm also an H-top user, but top, I have no idea what top stands for, actually. Top, let's see, what is it? Oh, okay, I thought it had like a special name or something, but what it does, this is a little more like a real-time task manager that you've seen in Windows or Activity Monitor in Mac. And right here, real time, I can see all of the different processes that are running, but I get a lot of other information as well. This is my uptime. This lets me know how long my system has been up since the last time it was rebooted or whatever. So this system, we completely created this system from scratch 52 minutes and 26 seconds ago, 28 seconds ago, and it's updating every so often. And then there's a bunch of other stuff here, the amount of users that are logged in, load average. So load is a really good indicator of how many things are going on in the system. And it actually goes, man, this is bad. 15 minutes, it's like 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, or 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, or backwards or something. I don't know, because they're all zero and it's confusing me right now. I would know if there was something going on right now. That's really weird that I don't know. I only know that by the static, like one will be more static. And basically it gives you an average of what the system's load has been over those 3 intervals. And what that does is that starts to tell you, well, you can see a lot of things from that, like a surprising amount of things from those averages. I never understood why the 3 of them were there, but you can start to see, hey, this system was going slow 20 minutes ago. And you know, it was getting better 5 minutes ago, but now it's back up, and there's some things you can do in between there if you're taking certain metrics to figure out what's going on. It just gives you a good indication of what's currently happening now. But it's not I used to think it was CPU usage. It is not CPU usage. I don't remember why I thought it was CPU usage. It's actually a function of a few things, like CPU usage versus the amount of cores that you have in your system. It's very interesting. So a bad load average or a high load average is actually different depending on how powerful your system is. And so again, you're gonna need to know a little bit more about that. Like for little small servers like this one, with like, I think this has 1 vCPU, like 1 is probably, if this got up to 1.0, it's probably a pretty high load average, and my system's probably going pretty slow. But yeah, load, we will dive into load a little deeper, into like managing performance a little bit deeper. But there's a lot of information in here about processes themselves, CPU usage, memory usage, you know, in kilobytes, or well, I don't know if the word is kilobytes or I don't know, but it's bytes. It's kilobytes, very close to kilobytes, I think, on the 1,000 instead of the 24 or whatever. But yeah, and swap, and then the processes. And this is really nice because you can do things like I can switch up the order. Oh, so it is kilobyte. I got it. I'm proud of myself. And I think you guys taught me about what those were. To be honest, I was always like, I don't know why. I don't know the difference between these. And people always like gigabyte, and I'm like, man, what are y'all talking about? I know gigabyte, giga. Also, did y'all hear that giga is actually not giga? It's actually giga. It's gigawatts. Gigawatts is real. It's actually gigawatts. It was always gigawatts, which means it's probably gigabytes as well. But we'll just leave it be. We'll leave it be and call it gigabytes still, but it's probably gigabytes. Go look it up. Gigawatts is actually the real scientific term. There was like a whole article about it the other day. Like, yeah, it's MIT was to say giga, not ziga. I mean, hey, I refuse it. I mean, hey, I'm just saying, it's definitely gigawatts, which makes it very funny. But it's true. But I'm also gonna stick with giga as well. But yeah, I'll see if I can find the article, because like at first I thought it was a joke, and then I looked a little more and it was not a joke. Okay, so yeah, all that information is here. I hit Shift M and it actually changed it up, and it is actually doing it now by memory in descending order. And so you can see the memory is descending. So you can like do some cool little commands in here once you learn Top Well to see what's taking up the most memory, what's taking up the most CPU. There's a lot of other good information in here that'll take a while to learn, but Top is a really good tool to be able to do to find out that information. A better tool though is HTOP, and HTOP is really great. HTOP is top, but on steroids a little bit. Much better output, much more readable. It'll actually give you, on a normal computer, it'll give you output by core. So we talk about load average, you can actually see what your CPU core looks like. And so actually I'll do it on my host computer. All right, so my host computer has 32 threads, 16 cores, 32 threads. Look at this. It actually shows the usage of each core, of each thread, not even core, each thread individually, which is super nice. Really, really nice to see kind of how that's set up. But it also gives you things in a little bit better display. It also tells you how to use it down here. So you can hit these buttons to find out more information about what to do, what you can do. Everything up here is much more simplified. Uptime, load average, tasks. I think this is great. The reason I think this is great is because if I do top, all of this information I can get elsewhere in a better format. I don't need, this is not useful to me at least. And so it's really nice that they were smart enough in HTOP to pull those things out. I can see my memory usage, my swap usage. Yeah, it's really nice. It is really, I'm only using 613 megs out of 50 gigs of RAM. I don't know why it says, I don't know. It's really weird. But yeah, HTOP is a better tool. I want you to know about it. It shows all the processes. So if you want to say, hey, I want to see what's running on a Linux system, HTOP, that's how you do it. You can do some cool filtering and you can do a bunch of stuff in here. Really nice. We don't need to know all those things. Give BashTop a review. I'll check out BashTop. I don't know what that is, but I'll throw it on my list of things to check out. So HTOP as well is really nice. And kill. When you're in these programs, you can use kill to kill a program. This is where those process IDs are pretty important. And so I just want you to know that's the term for removing, removing a program or process is generally you kill it. There's some other options as well, but let's see. Ntop or HTOP, it should be the same. You can simply hit the K button for kill. So what I can do is I can find which process I want. I'm not gonna kill anything right now because it might cause problems, because these are, looks like system things. But I can hit K for kill, and it gives you some options over on the left on what to do. Sig term is generally the thing that's it's gonna just go ahead and terminate this thing. So there's a couple different ways you can kill things. You can kill them gracefully. You can just destroy them if you want. Actually, sig term will try to gracefully shut it down, I believe. And I think sig kill number 9 will just kill it without worrying about it. No graceful shutdown. But I select one of these and it will go ahead and it'll kill that process, and it will be done for. So that's how, that's just how you kill the process. You can do that from top. You can also do that from the command line. So I'm actually gonna kill something real quick. If it breaks it, whatever. But check out this process ID. Remember that process ID is unique. 14250. What I'll do here is I'll kill, and I can type in the process ID, and it'll probably ask me for a code. I need to do sudo. I don't know what the default kill code is, but it'll go ahead and it'll kill that process. That's how you kill a process. That's the only reason I put kill in there, is because kill is the command that you use to kill a process. You need to use the process ID. The ways that you can get that process ID are, 1, by running the PS command. So you can get the process ID by this, or you can get it from top or HTOP. You can also get the process ID. John Wanton, thank you so much for the gifted subs. I just your generosity on this channel has been absolutely wild, absolutely out of control, and I just want you to know that we appreciate you. Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you. Killing cattle on processes, you gotta kill, sometimes it feels bad, but for the greater good, you just have to kill, not people, but processes, in your life, on your machine. It's all good. You just kill off for the win. Sometimes you really do just got to kill all the processes. I use -9 as well. Usually, pretty sure that's the, just shut them down. Don't care about if it shuts down properly. What's up, Pylang? How you doing? Blue Booger, what's up? Mass Smith, welcome. Yeah, everyone definitely, please thank John Wonton if you just received a gifted sub. Again, the generosity is much appreciated. Okay, that's process management. So pretty simple process. You'll get, what might you use that for? I think that's important. Something you might use this for is, again, you may, like my first job, I was, if you're a Linux administrator or something, a system, you may get an alarm on a system and say, hey, this system has had 80% CPU usage for the past 5 minutes. I need to know what's going on. And what you would do is you would hop in real fast and you say, hey, what's going on here? And you type in, you know, htop, because you want to see what's taking up the system. And I forgot which command it is to make it go by CPU usage. I think by default, it goes by CPU usage. Pretty sure. And so it'll show the thing that's using the highest CPU right here at the top. Or the things that are using the highest CPU, and you can say, oh man, that, you know, Apache's running crazy, or this job is running out of control and I don't like it, and this is messing up my system and I need to, you know, restart it or something. And so commonly people will either restart the process or kill the process, start it back up. And so that's a common use case. Say, hey, so something's going on in the system. I'll log in, I'll see what's causing problems, I'll restart the service or kill the app that's causing all the issues. But yeah, yep, I can put it in tree mode as well. Tree mode is really nice. It is really nice. Htop is like, it's so, I gotta be honest, you know, as I learned top first and people kept telling me to use Htop and I was like, top's perfectly sufficient. No reason to switch. Everyone who switches is a nerd and you need help. You don't even really know how to use Linux, do you? I don't know why I was being an elitist. I wasn't even really being an elitist because this is an inherently better application. Everything about this application is better. Everything, literally everything about it. And I don't know why I fought for it for so long. Like I was like, nah, man, top it is, top all the way. You know, until the day I die. But obviously that did not stay. That did not stick at all. But yeah, Htop is super great. The one thing I will tell you about Htop is Htop will not be available by default on all the systems that you use, and in fact it will often not be available on systems that you use. So this was available here. I would be surprised if it's available on Red Hat, and it is not available on Red Hat by default. But it is available on Ubuntu because again, Ubuntu usually, you know, has the cooler stuff. But you can always install it. How do we install stuff? Install Htop. I hope that's it. No argument for Htop. So Htop is probably has a different package name or something. If you might say like, okay, well, how would you find that out? I would say, look, I'm gonna say install Htop on CentOS. That's all I'm gonna do, or Red Hat or whatever it is. And you know, I'm not gonna install it right now, but that's what I would do. And this is, I could do yum install Htop. Oh, did I put it in the wrong? I did an update already. Oh, you need to enable. See, if it says first, I need to enable a new repository. That's what we talked about. It doesn't know where to get this from. It says, hey, go ahead and install this repository. And once you do, you can install Htop using yum install Htop. So, you know, there we go. But yes, Htop is not, Htop is, it's so superior. Like it's crazy how superior it is, and it's crazy how long I fought it for. And the last few that we're just gonna run through really quickly, just take a few minutes, are again, gathering information. What we're talking about with process management and kind of the systems administration is first to be able to gather the information that we need to know what things are taking up memory and RAM, and well, same thing, disk space and CPU usage. And here are some other tools you can use to do that. So a couple ways to check memory are free, top, and Htop. So we just talked about that, but we haven't learned about free. And so in top, memory is shown here and it's shown in the kilobytes, but like, this is not for your eyes. Like this means nothing to you. but it lets you know how much you have total, how much is free, how much is used, and how much is in the buffer cache. Buffer cache, this memory is also what's available, but that's not a big deal right now. And then HTOP also shows you the same information. HTOP shows you this information here, much more simply, that I'm using 116 megs out of 979 megs. So it's really nice. I know the colors are kind of weird, but like this is the bar of usage right here. I think this is the buffer cache, and this is the rest of the free space. Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird in that view, but in this view, it's not like that. So this is a little bit better, showing actual usage. So that's nice. It's a much easier way to get your information. 613 megs out of 50 gigs. Big deal, you know, a lot of headroom there, easy to read. But the way that I prefer to get my information about memory information is to type in free, and it gives you specifically information about memory. And up front, I think it gives you the same things as how Top does it and kilobytes, and it's whack. This is not readable to me. I don't know what these numbers are. It means nothing to me. So you can give it some information. You can give it some flags to make it easier to read for you. And I do one of two, depending on the system that I'm working on and how much memory it actually has. One is free-m, and M will give it to you in megabytes. Maybe it's in megabytes, if that's the right word for that, but in megabytes. And so this is a little bit easier to read for me. But the way you're probably going to want to read it is for a system like this, the M makes sense because there's not a lot of RAM on here. But free-h is going to make it human readable for you. And so what that's going to do is it's going to convert it either into megabytes or to gigabytes. It will convert it to gigabytes as well, and it will add in the suffix to the end, so that the label here, so that you know what it is, and it's much more easily read by us as humans. Makes sense. This makes sense to me. I can make some decisions based on the data that I get out of here. If I do HTOP on here, if I do free on my desktop, which has more RAM, a lot more RAM, and I do a -h, it should give it to me in the gigs. So it gives me to some things in gigs and some things in megs. And so this has 64 gigs of RAM on it. So, you know, it gives it to me in gigs. I'm only using a little bit here. I have this much free. And so, yeah, it's just more easily readable. So this is the interface that I like to use to check memory. It's pretty quick and pretty easy. And again, if I usually go to this first instead of HTOP. Some people go straight to HTOP. I usually do a free because it's just muscle memory and what I'm used to. And I say, hey, if I'm having some memory issues, if my memory is being used up, I don't even have anything in cache, you know, that's when I go to HTOP, and then I do Shift-M to filter by memory instead, or to sort by memory instead, and I can find out the applications that are bothering my system the most. So that's how you find out memory, HTOP, top, and free. And then the last thing is disk space. So we learned how to check CPU using HTOP and top. We learned how to check memory using free, top, and HTOP. And now we're going to learn how there's actually other ways to check memory as well. But we're also going to check our storage now. So this is checking the various resources of the system. And the last thing we're going to do is check the storage. And the first one is the df command. And df is the command that checks information about the file system itself. And so it's going to give you information about, you know, different places on the file system and how big they are. Slash is the one that matters to you. So we said, hey, the Linux file system always starts at slash. And so look, you're generally, if you want to know how much disk space is available on the computer, you're going to be looking for slash in this list. And this takes modifiers as well. And H here also makes this human readable. And so if I do a df-h, you can see here that my root partition has 251 gigs of size, 5.5 are used, but 233 are still available. That seems like incorrect math to me, but whatever, not a big deal. But that I know why it's off. It's stupid. But here are some other locations. These are other mounts. They're all mounted to this file system in a certain location, but these are other storage locations. Generally, the way that this is set up is a little bit weird because of the Windows subsystem for Linux. Let's actually do it over here. And this is generally what you'll see on a system, minus maybe this one right here, minus maybe these two. You'll see all the rest pretty commonly, and you can see here that, hey, I have 30 gigs available, or 30 gigs total. 1.5 is available. 28 gigs are still available for me to use. One thing I'll tell you about Linux in particular, and maybe this is computing period, having 100% disk space utilization is very problematic, and it makes it very difficult to even remedy. Why is that? One is because everything in Linux is a file. Everything in Linux is a file, so even when you need to do things, sometimes it needs to create new files. And so 100%, like, you'll get really weird if your server is doing something super odd and it doesn't look like, it's having really weird functionality, it's not working sometimes, and then it works for a little bit, and CPU looks good and RAM looks good. Disk space causes havoc. It wreaks havoc if disk space is full. So definitely make sure it's something that you check. Nowadays, to be honest with you, especially if you're in the cloud, like, this shouldn't be a problem. You can get the disk space that you need. It used to be much more of a problem when people were doing much more on-prem stuff, even though I know lots of companies are doing on-prem stuff. I mean, that's not a problem. That stuff is good, and they're probably saving money, to be honest. But yeah, disk space, having full disk space causes tons of problems. So beware, keep an eye on the disk space. But slash is generally what you're going to worry about, unless there's other drives mounted in different places. This just has to do, don't worry about these other ones, what they are right now. Dev is for devices, and they all do some different things, but they're all a part of the same system in the way that this is partitioned. What's up, Meta Tensor? Good to have you. What's up, NR Livingstone? Good to have you. What's up, Asherah 86? Good to have you as well. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Thanks for coming into Waddle, learning a little bit of Linux tonight. We are basically done. I want to play around with some of these a little bit, because we went through these today was kind of hectic a little bit, getting stuff up and running, and had to get logged in and all this other stuff. But what I really want you to focus on to make everything a little more concise is, one, being able to install packages with whatever package manager is available. So what I want you to start doing is, as you hear about new Linux distributions, what I want you to do is to start to look up what package manager is used on that Linux distribution. So someone talked about Arch and Gentoo. So you might run into a couple of different things. You might run into Yowart, and you might run into Pacman, and there's a lot of other package managers, but the ones I want you to be ones I really want you to be focused on, there's really only two that I want you to be focused on, and this might sound wrong to tell you this, but apt for Debian based distributions and Yum for Red Hat based distributions. Why not DNF? Because didn't you say DNF was the new thing and Yum was being deprecated? The reason why I'm telling you that is because, like I said, one, I know that organizations move slow. So Yum is going to still be available. It is probably the command that's used in scripts and Docker files to get things installed. And tutorials you find are not going to be using DNF. Most likely they're going to be using Yum. So I want you to be familiar with Yum. And I think the things that you'll learn with Yum will follow over to DNF. But I want you to be most familiar with Yum and apt. There are some other options in there, like we learned with Debian based. Dpkg is something we know that apt uses that, and Yum, we know that there's Yum and DNF. There's also RPM on the Red Hat side. I check it out. I don't think it's super important for you right now. yeah, just understand, hey, I can install some packages, maybe look up, maybe like look up the best Linux applications to install, and maybe try going through and using the package manager to install those things, to get those things installed. I can send you a list of the best application, especially if you're using desktop Linux. There's a lot of stuff you can install, again, like GIMP or VLC Media Player. There's a lot of cool things you can install to make sure those go well. Real quick, let's actually enable the Apple repo so you can see what it's like enabling an extra repo. And so a lot of times, what you're going to do is to enable a repo in Red Hat distros is sometimes you're going to install it via yum, which is really interesting. So you're going to use yum to install additional repos sometimes, which is weird. Other times you're going to install an RPM package to do it. Debian has a bunch of other different ways to do it. And so I'm going to install this. Oh, but this is, oh wait, actually, let's see I don't even know what we're using. What is this? Let's see, issue, Red Hat release. All right, so we are using Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8.2. So if I needed that, here's what I would do. I would say, all right, I'm running into this guide. This guide is saying that for me to install htop, I need to install this new, this EPEL repo. It's pretty common in the Red Hat space to need to install this thing. And I might say, all right, I don't know how to do that, and this guide isn't doing it. So I might say, hey, install REPL Red Hat 8. And so I forgot we're using Red Hat, not CentOS. This might cause some issues. But you go down a little farther and looks like I'm just gonna, maybe this is it. This feels right. And let's see if this works, because we are using Red Hat 8. It's gonna go through and it's going to say, hey, you want to install this EPEL release? And I'm gonna say, yes, I do. And it's gonna go ahead and install that. And now if I try to install htop, look at that, installing a new repository. Actually, this actually shouldn't work. That's weird. Interesting. I guess that's just for Debian. Debian, you would have to update. Debian, you would have to add a new repository, update to the package manager, so it knows where to, it knows that this is a new source, and then you would be able to install what you needed. But here, I did this, and now I have htop here. And so now I have it on my Red Hat machine here in the cloud as well. So it's interesting. I haven't played with yum stuff in so long, which is really weird, because I think I told you all, the place that I work at now, we actually don't log into our servers anymore. We're actually not allowed to. No, not allowed to. We don't have access to log into our servers anymore. We kind of run an immutable infrastructure, and so we don't really log in to fix things. We deploy configuration changes to fix everything. And so I don't get to do a lot of Linux administration anymore, which kind of sucks, but that will change soon. We'll be doing a lot of Linux administration here. We'll be running some pretty substantial servers over here, even though, as I like to build things without servers if I can. But yeah, we'll be doing a lot of cool stuff with that. But yeah, so we install some stuff using a package manager. I would Google some packages to hey, I would just say, I would Google this. Go to Google and type in how to install on Ubuntu, and just see what comes up, and just see what comes up, and just start trying to install some software and getting comfortable with that package manager. If you're on desktop Linux, and I think that's valuable as well. There are there's a store there that you can do, but practice getting some tools and things installed, especially if you're on desktop Linux. I think there's some fun tools for you to find on there. Other than that, we talked about a little bit of server administration, really just finding out information about what's going on in your system. One is what processes are running. Remember, the command for that is ps. and you can add some modifiers. PSAUX is what you're going to see a lot of. It's going to give you basically all of the things that are here, and again, it can be overwhelming until you learn a little bit more Linux stuff. It's going to be hard to understand what is on this list, but at the end of the day, you know that it is just a list of processes that are currently running on the system. We also learned that to find out what processes are running, we could also use top, and we could also use htop. So htop and top will give you basically all the information that you need about the main computing resources you can gather from here, except for disk space information. So yeah, that's there. We learned that you can find out memory information from both of those tools or with free. And the flag that you want to do is a -H here to get it to be human readable, to find out what's going on here. There's also M for megabytes, and there's G for gigabytes. And so that says all zeros because I actually don't even have a full gig of RAM here. And then you can also, again, find these out in top and htop. And then we learn about DF, which shows about file system. Oh, we didn't talk about DU. So DF shows you file system information. Shows you the information about the actual file system, so your actual hard disks. But DU shows you information about specific files and directories. So if you wanted to find out how big a certain file or directory was, you would use the DU command instead. And so I'll go back one, and if I do a DU, whoops, it's showing me everything, but I can do DU very specifically of Go, I think, and it tells me exactly how large the Go directory is, and then it goes deeper down and it checks the directories that are inside this Go directory, and it put them in ascending order, which I don't really like. You can actually switch that up, but if you want to find out which files and directories are the largest on your system, you can use this DU command. It's really good. You can use this DU command along with some other commands, again, to search the whole file system. Like maybe you're running out of disk space and you're trying to determine what in the world is using up all this disk space. Excuse me. The DU command is how you would determine that. The DU command is how you would find out exactly what is taking up space and how much space it is taking up. So that's it. Now you know how to find out memory information. Now you know how to find out CPU and load information. Now you know how to find out disk space information. Again, you may not know what to do with it yet, but now you know where to find it if you need to find it. You may not understand the output. That is okay. You gotta start from somewhere. But you also know how to install packages. You know a little bit about package managers, and kind of how to approach some of them. Now, if you start Googling information and stuff, things will start popping up. And even if you're not familiar with the package manager itself, watch this. If I do install htop with Pacman might be a little bit different, but they'll give you Snap Store and stuff as well. I don't really like Snap, but you'll start to see some of the commands that are in here, and it's gonna be a lot of like, why is it showing me Snap? We're not talking about Snap right now. A lot of the things will be like the name of the service. This one's for Pacman is -S and the name of the package. So a lot of things are gonna be, again, the package manager, a command, and the name of the package that you want to install or uninstall or do anything with. So you'll start to get more comfortable if you run into a new package manager that you haven't seen before. It'll be a little bit easier to understand what is happening with what you're doing. Yeah, what you're doing. So yeah, play around with it. See if you can get some stuff installed. I've been touting it for a long time, but I do have the first video that I've made in months for YouTube, specifically for YouTube, is a video that is specifically around my preferred the way that I like to basically setting up what I feel is the perfect development environment in Windows, Linux, and Mac. or you'll be like, to do so, you actually need to use a lot of the things that we learned tonight with package managers and stuff. So now you'll be able to do those things. I'm planning on that thing releasing next Tuesday. Hopefully the editing on it has been kicking my butt. It was over ambitious. It's gonna be like a 20-minute video because I did it for all three, which I don't know why I did. I should have made it in 3 different videos. The goal is also to release a video every Tuesday, but that's not going to happen until I'm full-time, to be 100% honest. So I'm doing what I can now. But if you're looking for an opportunity to do that, you know what I'll do real quick? If you're looking for some stuff to make in here in the Notion, real quick, I'm going to put my Aaron's favorite Linux. I'm gonna put my desktop apps here so that anyone who installed Linux desktop can install some of these things. And I like GIMP, I like Inkscape, what else do I like? I like VLC. Even though I don't really use it, I like to have VS Code installed. I like to have Chrome installed. I like to have Handbrake installed. I like to have, if you want to do a little video editing, you can do Caden Live. Spotify, you know, gotta have that. And these are all things you can install from the command line because you can control the entire computer from the command line. For Linux, what else? Oh, the terminal I use on Linux is Hyper Terminal. Besides that, you know, Slack and Discord, I have them on there. Do I use them? Who knows? Yeah, so maybe try, you know, checking out some of those programs and seeing if you can install them from the command line in your VM or whatever. It'll be a little bit fun. But that's it. That's all I got for tonight. That's all I got. Sorry tonight was a little bit, you know, hectic with the sound problems. New week, you know, we'll figure it out. Tomorrow will be better than we were today. But tomorrow, if anyone is interested, tomorrow we are here with Contained. If you're new to the channel, tomorrow is Contained. We are doing a 6-part deep dive into Docker. That's also on the second week. On Contained, we are learning, I have no idea what we're learning tomorrow. Excursions, Contained. Tomorrow we're learning how to, data persistence, and image, and we learned about container management last week. We'll be learning about Docker image management this week, and we'll start building Docker files tomorrow. We'll start to understand Docker files, layers, and we'll learn best practices when building out these Docker files. So tomorrow's gonna be fun if you want to learn how to use containers a little bit, or want to learn how to code, codify infrastructure a little bit, even though, you know, beta, you know, it's in the realm, you know. I think this is absolutely infrastructure as code. But yeah, tomorrow should be pretty fun, and then we'll be back here on Wednesday with file operations, text editing. So you'll be learning some Vim, some Nano. You'll be learning about how to, you know, make files. We'll be learning about you know, moving files. We'll be learning about copying. We'll be learning about catting. We'll learn about a lot of just file manipulation. We'll learn about redirect operators. So we'll learn about how to, you know, send things to standard out versus into files and things like that. But we'll also learn about Linux permissions and understand what all this mess is. You'll know what all this stuff is over on the, let's go into Go. You'll know what all of this crap is all over here, all on the left side. You'll understand that after Wednesday. So make sure you come back for that. That should be pretty dope. But that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed. I need to go eat for one, drink some more water because today kicked my butt. I'm on a new, you know, I'm actually on a workout routine that The Rock, they put The Rock's name on top. So I said, okay, you know, I know he didn't really make it, but his picture's on here and I'm gonna look like him 1 year. All right, y'all, 1 year, I'm gonna look like The Rock. Now, I've already had people first off, you all are very kind. People have messaged me more than once. Like, I think 3 people have messaged me saying like, hey, like, you know, I know people can be like, really concerned when they're worrying about body goals and stuff. And like, as what you know, you need to be working to look like, you know, as good as you want to look. You don't need to be trying to look like somebody else. And I was like, hey, I know that I am absolutely, I understand that. I appreciate people looking out for me and my mental state. This is more so, this is just fun. I know I'm not gonna look like The Rock, exactly like The Rock, but I'll be damned if I don't try. I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna try. I'm gonna give him a run for his money. You'll see. I'm gonna give him a run for his money. And in my pursuit for trying, you know, I'll get somewhere. I'll get somewhere closer to where I want to be. Because you guys can't see this. It's going well, but I just realized how far I have to go. You know, big boy, big boy. I'm weighed myself yesterday. I put a little bit back on in the in quarantine. I was in August when I started, I was 323. No, in July I was 323. I got that made me I got really scared. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm only 5'8". It may look like I'm taller on camera. I'm only 5'8". I was 323 pounds. I dropped down to like around 286. I was like working out real hard at by the beginning of the quarantine. I'm like 292, 293 right now. So, you know, not crazy, you know, and I've been eating crazy. I was doing wild stuff during the quarantine, like it don't really matter. So, and so I'm about to get down. My goal is 265 because that's what The Rock is. And we'll reevaluate once we're down to what The Rock is. But you know, we're doing it. That's why I'm riding my bike to work every day, rain and shine. As long as it's not lightning, I will be riding my bike, hit the gym. You know, we're gonna make this happen. I got my water here. I'm not drinking anything but water. And it's gonna be phenomenal. We'll get there. I'll keep you all abreast of the situation. I'll keep you all updated. Thank you. I'm trying. Challenge for the W. Yes. I really do. I don't really want to wrestle. It's really interesting. But you know, I grew up watching wrestling. You know, we had we have a, what's that thing called? We used to have a trampoline and everyone used to come over and we used to do wrestling moves. I've done more rock bottoms. I've done more people's elbows. I've done more stone cold stunners, more swanton bombs than I probably should have in my lifetime. But yeah. All right, so we're always gonna head over and see someone. Jackie's on. Here's what we're gonna do. You guys have probably seen Jackie in the comment section before. He's pretty smart, does some really cool coding stuff, does a lot of like Rust and like home automation projects and stuff. Yeah, I've never seen him stream at the same time I've been streaming, so we're definitely gonna head over to Jackie. So let's head over. I never remember how to, yeah, never mind. I know how to type. Raid. So head over, but yeah, come through tomorrow for Contained. Come back on Wednesday for Waddle. And again, for anyone who wasn't around for the last class, it's coming out. It should come out the end of this week. The information about the next two excursions. The next two excursions are going to be Git and Terraform. If anyone is interested, Git and Terraform. While those excursions are going on, we're also going to be building a software project as well. Information will be coming out about that as well. So that'll be in 2 weeks from now. All of those things will start. So if you're interested, you know, throw it on your calendar. We constantly have new things coming, and I have a calendar to put up as well. It should be up in the next like day or two. I finally have a calendar that you can get to from here to know everything that we're gonna need, like that we're just gonna be happening, you know, because we always have so much going on. I have a calendar for you now. I'm working on it. I'm getting there, y'all. I'm getting better. Okay, I'm getting there. So all right, tell Jackie we said hi. I actually hope his name is Jackie. I've been on his stream a few times, like watching, but I've never actually asked his name. It says Jackie, so I'm hoping that's it. But let's rate him. Let's say hello. Hopefully this makes his day. But cool, everybody have a great night. I'm gonna get some dinner, drink some water, go to sleep, so I can, you know, Lance Armstrong into work, go work out, and everything will be great. And I'll be one day closer to looking like Dwayne. But peace out, y'all.